From the fertile banks of the Nile to the towering pyramids, ancient Egypt stood as one of the most remarkable civilizations in history. For over 3,000 years, it thrived, shaping art, science, religion, and governance in ways that still echo today. But how did this empire rise to such greatness, and why did it ultimately fall? This is the story of ancient Egypt. Egypt's story begins with the Nile River, its lifeline. Each year, the river flooded, depositing rich silt onto the land, creating fertile soil for agriculture. This predictable cycle allowed ancient Egyptians to grow surplus crops, fueling population growth and urban development. By 3100 BCE, small agricultural communities unified under a single ruler, Narmer, also known as Menes. This marked the beginning of the early dynastic period and the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, a critical first step in building an empire. The Old Kingdom, 2686 to 2181 BCE, saw the rise of centralized power and monumental architecture. Pharaohs, considered living gods, used their divine authority to command vast resources and labor. The result? The Pyramids of Giza, one of the greatest architectural achievements in human history. But this golden age also relied heavily on the pharaoh's ability to maintain control. When drought struck, causing famine, the central government weakened, leading to the First Intermediate Period, a time of fragmentation and chaos. Egypt reunited around 2055 BCE under Pharaoh Mentuhotep II, ushering in the Middle Kingdom. This era focused on restoration, infrastructure, and expanding Egypt's borders through trade and military campaigns. However, the prosperity of the Middle Kingdom came to an abrupt end around 1650 BCE when foreign invaders, the Hyksos, seized control of northern Egypt. Using advanced weapons like chariots, they dominated for over a century until Egyptian rulers in the south rallied to expel them. The New Kingdom, 1550 to 1070 BCE, marked Egypt's peak of power and influence. Pharaohs like Hatshepsut expanded trade networks, while Thutmose III led military campaigns that turned Egypt into an empire stretching from modern-day Sudan to Syria. This era also saw Ramses II, known as Ramses the Great, who signed one of the world's first recorded peace treaties after the famous Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites. But Egypt's wealth and power began to attract enemies, and internal strife weakened the once mighty empire. The priesthood of Ammonius grew so powerful that they rivaled the pharaohs themselves, dividing the state. After the New Kingdom, Egypt entered a long period of decline. Civil wars, invasions by the Nubians, Assyrians, and eventually the Persians eroded its sovereignty. Though pharaohs like Psamtik I temporarily revived Egypt's fortunes, they could not halt the growing tide of foreign powers. In 332 BCE, Alexander the Great conquered Egypt, marking the end of its independence. The Ptolemaic dynasty, descendants of Alexander's general Ptolemy, ruled for centuries, but Egypt was now a pawn in a larger Hellenistic world. The final chapter of ancient Egypt came with Cleopatra VII, the last active pharaoh. Her alliances with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony were bold attempts to maintain Egypt's autonomy. But after her defeat at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, Egypt fell to Rome and became a province of the Roman Empire. And with that, the era of pharaohs came to an end. Egypt's ancient glory would fade, but its legacy remained immortal. Even in its decline, ancient Egypt left an indelible mark on the world. Its innovations in engineering, medicine, and governance continue to influence us today. The pyramids remind us of what human ambition can achieve, while its art and writing tell the story of a civilization that reached for eternity. Ancient Egypt's rise and fall is a story of resilience, innovation, and the unyielding march of time. It reminds us that even the greatest empires are mortal, but their stories live on. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. Which era of ancient Egypt fascinates you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more historical deep dives.